Guys, I don't want to sit here and actually, I see the title. Okay, the title itself is very frustrating to me because what do you mean? What if singularities do not exist? I know that there was a paper that came out pretty recently, I think from a mathematician coming from New Zealand, and I was just like, listen, I saw it. I literally saw this paper about a year ago, or like almost a year ago or so. And then I saw it and I was stressed out by it, but it makes all the sense in the world. Can we actually prove mathematically that singularities exist? No, we cannot. But if they don't, then we just instantly broke the theory of general relativity. We broke the whole concept of what we know about cosmology, and then quantum mechanics itself, guys. I do think personally that there is something at the at the center of a black hole. Right, and I am even kind of more onto the fringe end and say that there may actually be white holes, guys. What's on the other side of a black hole? A white hole, or the black hole that we think is a black hole is just a Planck star, guys. Which could also be that. It could be that. I think we may be misidentifying black holes sometimes, but the singularity in itself would have to be something that has the ability to suck up all the matter that it possibly can, right? And potentially when it does explode, maybe, right? That means that the singularity itself, or the alleged singularity itself, is finite, which then would basically say to me that it's probably not a singularity. I listen. I know the math doesn't math in these contexts here, but I'm just not ready specifically to break everything that we know. At least we have to figure out things about time, gravity, and things like that. And I think that this definitely has the ability to break the idea of what we think is real and true. Okay, like if we're not ready to start proving, let's say, loop quantum gravity, then I'm not exactly sure that we should even be having these conversations yet. Okay, so I'm just gonna be completely honest. So I don't know. like guys, that's where I am with this here. What if singularities do not exist? I don't even want to talk about it yet. I'm not sure that I'm ready to have every single thing that we have all studied and known for so long completely broken by the by the thought. Let's say the thoughts of a man. He's accomplished, guys. I'm not trying to disrespect this man. He's incredibly accomplished, way more accomplished than I am, guys. Way more accomplished, factually. But I'm not sure. I want things to. Well, I guess it's my ignorance. Listen, if there is no singularity, I think we can handle it. I try not to remain ignorant under for any subjects or topics and things like that. But even though I don't want to have to relearn things, guys, I'm telling you, if it is wrong, it's wrong. Let's talk about it. That type of thing. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's go ahead and check this out immediately, guys. Let's do it.
It's not too often that a giant of physics trends to overturn an idea held to be self-evident by generations of physicists.
Right.
Well, that might be the fate of the famous Penrose singularity theorem, if we're to believe a recent paper by Roy Kerr. Long story short, the terrible singularity at the heart of the black hole may be no more.
Yeah, he definitely is trying to Neil deGrasse Tyson the singularity, guys.
A few hundred years ago, Isaac Newton figured out how gravity works.
Right.
Suddenly, a lot of mysterious things made a lot more sense. From the reason apples fell from trees to the motions of the planets and the stars. But this discovery also birthed a new and stranger mystery. It hinted at the possibility that the gravity of a sufficiently dense object could produce an event horizon, a surface of no escape, able to hold prisoner light itself. It raised the spectre of black holes, whose paradoxical nature plagues physics to this day.
Right. Absolutely.
Einstein's update to Newtonian gravity seemed to confirm the theoretical prospect of black holes, and it also revealed something even more challenging to physics. The first solution to the equations of general relativity, the Schwarzschild solution, hinted that at the very center of the black hole there is a singularity.
Yeah.
At this hypothetical point of infinite density and infinite gravity, GR comes into terrible conflict with quantum mechanics. At the size scale of the singularity, our two supreme theories of the physical world prove themselves mutually incompatible. Many, and perhaps most physicists, were seriously uncomfortable with the idea of black hole singularities.
Right.
And they got even more uncomfortable when, in 1965...
It's like, bro, how can something that small hold that much? Make that make sense. Like, even in the realm of quantum mechanics, how can we make that make sense? Like, there has to be like a fundamental, like, size that you can't break, basically, right? So once we get down to the Planck scale, all right, we start to realize instantly that is the limit. Or how about this? That's what we think is the limit. Okay, so how can something that small hold this much matter? Okay, I'm not sure that there's a way. All right, so I'm not sure anyone knows if there's a way or not. We're talking about what, 10 to the minus 35 meters.
And they got even more uncomfortable when, in 1965, British physicist Sir Roger Penrose showed that singularities really are unavoidable in general relativity. His Penrose singularity theorem, for which he won the 2020 Nobel Prize, claims that as long as an event horizon exists, so must a singularity.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The most important implication of the singularity theorem is to show that general relativity really is in fundamental conflict with quantum mechanics. If that's the case, then the only salvation from the
two things can't be
singularity is some greater theory combining quantum mechanics and general relativity, in which the singularity will evaporate away, as if it was just a bad dream of ignorant 20th century physicists. But just recently,
Bro, watch us find out that it's a Stargate in like 3,000 years.
Had a ray of hope from a completely unexpected direction.
And we should have been going through it.
In a paper released in December, Roy Kerr, one of the greatest black hole theorists of all time, may have shown that we can avoid the black hole singularity without quantum mechanics after all.
Okay.
In order to get to this radical new result, we need to build up some understanding. So let's refresh our knowledge of black holes and review the Penrose singularity theorem, of which we have a previous episode. Then maybe we can decide if Roy Kerr really did destroy the singularity.
I think he did. I read it. I think he did. I'm going to be honest here. The numbers just don't line up, bro.
So, to start with, Roger Penrose didn't exactly prove the existence of singularities, not explicitly anyway. He demonstrated that space-time paths must terminate inside a black hole. Anything moving in space-time under only gravity follows something called a geodesic. This is a path through space-time that minimizes the combined spatial and temporal distance traveled. Before the Penrose singularity theorem, it was generally held that geodesics had no end. An object might travel along a segment of a geodesic, for example, a ball being thrown on a parabola, but the geodesic itself can be traced both backwards and forwards beyond the ball's trajectory.
And that's basically what I would expect time to be, by the way, guys. Like time. I am absolutely a lover of the concept of loop quantum gravity, guys. I'm telling you. Like snapshots in time. Once you get down to like the lowest magnification you possibly, or the highest magnification you possibly could. Yeah, I think this is what time looks like. I think we're just experiencing it at like like 60 frames per second, let's say.
Forever forward into the expanding universe or backwards to the beginning of the universe. Roger Penrose showed that inside a black hole, geodesics have to converge at the center and end there. When a spacetime admits geodesics which don't go on forever, we say the spacetime is geodesically incomplete. You can imagine geodesics as grid lines of spacetime, forming a smooth, if sometimes quite warped fabric on which the laws of physics work nicely. Geodesic incompleteness means that there are pinched off regions where infinities appear and the laws of physics break down. So the argument of Penrose was that geodesic incompleteness means singularity. But Kerr has an objection to the argument, and it depends on the subtle interpretation of geodesic incompleteness. So let's dig a little deeper. When Penrose said that a geodesic captured by a black hole ends at the black hole center, he meant something very specific mathematically. He meant that the geodesic parameter is bounded. So the mathematical variable we use to describe the evolution of something along the geodesic terminates. Similar to how your latitude terminates if you travel to the South Pole. You can't go further south once your southness is maxed out.
Right.
For the geodesics describing the paths of matter, the geodesic parameter can be, and usually is, taken to be the proper time. That's just the time measured by someone moving along that trajectory. So, if the parameter for a matter geodesic is bounded, that would imply a singularity, because there's no way to trace the flow of time through that point. There's no meaningful way to define after the singularity in either space or time. These are dead ends in space-time. Now, Penrose constructed his argument using the paths of light, not of matter. And it turns out the difference is actually crucial, as we'll see. However, the general argument that geodesic incompleteness equals a singularity was convincing enough that for nearly 60 years,
right, no one cared
all of
to
us
do
agreed
anything.
that pure general relativity demands singularities.
Yeah, because we're all looking for a solution to something that we can't actually figure it out. Until you start doing the math and you're just like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you.
Stephen Hawking even used Penrose's arguments to show that in pure GR, the Big Bang was also a singularity.
Right.
All geodesics traced backwards in time had to converge and end at one point.
And see, this is my complaint. So now, if singularities did not exist, then we would have to rethink every single thing that we know. I think the easiest way right now is to just accept that they do exist and move on. And then until we can actually get concrete evidence that every single, let's say, black hole that's encountered is in fact a black hole, right? And not a Planck star. Until we can figure all this out, I would say leave it as it is for right now, okay? Until we can prove it, because if not, we're just having theoretical arguments, bro.
But Roy Kerr had his doubts, to put it mildly. Kerr is a New Zealand physicist who, in 1963...
Legendary, guys. Keep this in mind here. I think he has a Hughes Award, the Hughes Medal from the UK, if I recall, the Albert Einstein Medal, the Rutherford Medal.
Came up with the
He's a genius.
Kerr metric, the mathematical description of a rotating black hole. This was only the second black hole solution to the Einstein equations to be discovered, and it was 47 years after Karl Schwarzschild's solution. And that one just describes the much simpler case of a non-rotating black hole. Now, we have good reason to believe that essentially all real black holes have some rotation. So the Kerr solution is kind of a big deal, as is Roy Kerr. And Roy Kerr vehemently disagrees that singularities exist, nor even that the Penrose singularity theorem has anything to say about their existence. Let's finally get to the heart of the objection. So I told you that geodesic incompleteness has been taken to mean that space-time paths terminate,
right?
Which in turn has been taken to mean that singularities are real.
They have to be based off of that.
But there's a catch to this argument.
Right.
Penrose constructed his argument using a particular type of geodesic, the null geodesic. These are the space-time paths traveled by massless light-speed objects. A null geodesic represents the shortest path between 2 points in curved space. Okay, so what does that mean for a null geodesic to terminate? It means its geodesic parameter has to be bounded and not increase forever. In the case of massive particles, we used proper time to trace these regular geodesics. But things traveling at the speed of light don't experience time. Their clocks remain frozen, and so proper time doesn't increase along a null geodesic. To describe the geodesic motion of light, we need a different measure. We use something called an affine parameter, which is a slightly complicated thing, but the main thing is that this parameter increases in a nice clean way to track progress along a null geodesic. Penrose's theorem shows very convincingly that affine parameters are bounded inside black holes, and so null geodesics end. He then took this to infer the inevitability of singularities as dead ends in the grid of spacetime. But Kerr points out that these affine parameters don't track time in a meaningful way, and so don't imply that the grid of spacetime falls apart at the termination of a null geodesic. To illustrate this crudely, the affine parameter could be an exponential of coordinate time. This function is bounded from below even though time can go from minus to plus infinity. So that limit of the affine parameter doesn't mean that time itself comes to a halt, argues Roy Kerr. He also argues that this invalidates any arguments about the inevitability of singularities due to coordinate system dead ends. Kerr's paper is quite fun to read. He is
Check it out, bro.
To put it mildly, excoriating the physics community over and over for blindly following a conclusion that he states is built on a foundation of sand. I linked the paper in the description for your amusement. Another important part of Kerr's argument is about the difference between real black holes and the idealized black holes analyzed in the Penrose paper. Essentially all, and perhaps literally all, real black holes must have some rotation. Real astrophysical black holes will obey the Kerr metric, not the Schwarzschild. And
so this is how we're defining the differences? Okay.
The same argument can be extended for charged black holes. Kerr black holes do not have a point-like singularity in their center. In the Kerr metric, the point singularity is stretched out into a ring singularity, a looped strand of infinite curvature. But Kerr insists that even this isn't a real singularity. The other cool thing about the Kerr metric is that collapse towards a singularity is not inevitable, as it is in the Schwarzschild metric. There's a region just below the Kerr event horizon where collapse really is unavoidable. Across the event horizon, all paths lead down, just like in the Schwarzschild black hole, but not to the center. In a rotating black hole, the centrifugal effect of the spinning spacetime counteracts gravity, resulting in this inner region of almost normal spacetime. In the Kerr black hole, there's an inner horizon, and once you cross it, you're free to move in any direction, even back up. So what's this ring singularity? Kerr implies that it's a mathematical fiction. It's just a convenient way to represent the gravitational field generated by a rotating object. And he suggests that a true collapsed star would exist as an extended physical form inside the inner horizon of the Kerr metric. Kerr nails down his argument by demonstrating that, contrary to the conclusion of the Penrose singularity theorem, not all null geodesics terminate at the singularity in the Kerr black hole, even if their affine parameter is finite. He reveals these families of geodesics that pass the inner horizon of the Kerr black hole and continue to exist forever, and trace out really any path inside the black hole without having to hit the supposed singularity and stop existing. This is contrary to the previous belief that light crossing any black hole's event horizon has to end up at the supposed singularity in the center. That's if this ring singularity in the Kerr black hole even exists as a meaningful entity.
Right. Everything is theoretical, bro.
Rather than a mathematical convenience.
But see, I like the fact that we can also always kind of come down to these type of conversations, and I'm always down for the theoretical. Okay. Always.
As Roy Kerr believes. So, what does all of this really mean for the existence of singularities? Well, it's important to understand that Kerr's argument isn't necessarily saying that singularities don't exist. It's saying that the conclusions of the singularity theorem proof may be incorrect. It's saying that bounded affine parameters for null geodesics don't necessarily imply a singularity, contrary to the common interpretation of the Penrose singularity theorem. Not too many physicists really believe that black hole singularities do exist. But most of them thought that we would have to bring quantum mechanics into the picture to figure out why. That's why Kerr's paper is a surprise. It may give us a path to defeating the singularity without having to wait for that elusive theory of quantum gravity. There's still work to be done to see if Kerr's ideas hold up to scrutiny, and we have no doubt that there will be some excited arguments from both sides. But in the meantime, we now have reason to be less scared of the interiors of black holes.
No, I think we still have a lot of reasons to physically be afraid of the interior of a black hole, but let's continue.
From a theoretical standpoint, without singularities, perhaps we can start to formulate sensible physics about what happens in their interiors. Perhaps, with Roy Kerr's new ideas, physicists can travel a bit safer in theoretical space, thanks to a singularity-free space-time.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I hear you. Listen, I like this video. This video was very informative, right? I enjoy things like this thoroughly. I like the ability to have like thought-provoking conversations about physics. Let's go for that every single day, bro. I love physics. Okay, but my thing here is that, guys, I still think, okay, no. I came into this video saying that I know they basically don't exist, all right? But removing the existence of the singularity from the conversation will change a lot of things, and I'm not sure we're ready to explain all these other things. I do love the theory of loop quantum gravity. I love it. I think that it has the ability to explain a lot of things that we don't comprehend fully. But until that like latches on, we're here being confused over singularities or no singularities, white holes or no white holes, guys. I'm telling you. All right. But either way, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey, guys. You guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, it's amazing.